Hello, my name is Stephanie Gomez, and I was born on March 11th, 1985. I am a child of two immigrant parents. Both my parents happen to both come from this country, Ecuador. At the time, my mom came when she was 14 years old in 1970 because her parents wanted a better life. She's the oldest of six children, and she told me that one of the main hardships that she did have was that when they first came to this country, due for visa reasons, her family was split into two different groups. Her and two of her siblings were able to come to this country with my grandfather and my grandmother, and for about 6 to 8 months, they were without their younger siblings until each one of them got her visa. She explained to me that that was very, very hard, especially on her mom, my grandmother at the time, because it was trying to accustom themselves to a new country, plus knowing that the rest of her children had not gotten granted the permission to be here. My mom's biggest hardship when she came to this country, because she was young, was the language barrier. Although she was 14 years old, she says that for her to pick up the language wasn't easy, and compared to the education that we have now in the school systems, she says that the programs that we have now as far as ESOL and things like that weren't the same. She used to have to stay after school for special classes that she was allowed to take, but they weren't actually given to her in school. And she did explain that for her and her one other sister that were the oldest, the picking up of the language was the hardest. My father, on the other hand, came more as an adult. He was already out of high school in his country when he came here. He was 19. He was lucky enough that in the country he was in, he was at a good school that were introducing the English to them. So his biggest hardship here was actually finding an area to live, because he came as an adult. And although he had finished his schooling in Ecuador, for him to come in for college, he said that it took him a while. So he finally started community school, but the language barrier was very hard on him. As far as my culture, it's very different for me because of the fact that I have parents that came to this country very young. We are truly Hispanic, we speak it, but I feel that being born in New York and then being raised here, I'm not just Ecuadorian, I'm also Cuban, Colombian, all the different cultures of the people that were around us when we came here. My family have been really blessed that our neighbors have become family. So for Christmas, we have lechon because our neighbor who was family to me, that was one of her Cuban traditions that we started here. It wasn't until my adult years that I met my husband, who was born in Colombia, raised in Colombia, and I married him here, that I learned how you can have distinct cultures that have their certain heritage and things, that I feel that as an American born here, it's a little more of a broad aspect. They have very not strict ideals, but more customs that I feel that here, as a Hispanic American, it was like a diversity of it. While a lot of the things I've learned from his family is something that they all do. Like everybody from his family from Barranquilla happen to follow the same holidays, the same mannerisms when they speak to their families. And I feel that my sister and I, born here with many different cultures, and my parents also being more Americanized, had a more broader aspect to it. As far as diversity in the classroom, now that I've been going and seeing different classes, I do see how you have children that have different backgrounds as far as the language, or different backgrounds as far as the things that they're allowed to wear, and things like that. I did work with a kindergarten class, and recently I actually got to go to a middle school class, and we had a student that she cannot show her legs, and she was explaining to me that in her culture, they need to be covered up. That's pretty much my family's history, which was really interesting to hear from my parents.